All right, welcome to another edition of the Big Blue Report featuring that guy, the two-time Super Bowl champion, former defensive captain, a guy who's got 6.5 sacks under his belt, the man, the myth, the legend, Jonathan Casillas, along with Ryan Darlington, the man who's got 6 knapsacks, and I'm one of the guy who has eaten 6 sacks of lunch, Randy Zellea from BackSportsPage.com. Gentlemen, it seems like we miss the weeks where we win, where we can celebrate and do happy dances, and then when we come back the following week after a loss. Guys, what a weird game against the Bengals on a Sunday Night Football. Before we get started, I'm sorry, Brian, before we get started, this portion of the program is brought to you by NFL Shop, powered by Fanatics. Go get your Giants Big Blue gear, sideline gear, everything you need for the 2024 season is over at NFLshop.com, powered by Fanatics. Go there now, get your Giants gear. So maybe you can cry with it. You can wear it while you're, however you want to do it.
Wipe your tears.
You wipe your tears. They have new Giants paper towels you can put on your face while you're wiping your face, because it's very, very difficult, and it's hard to pinpoint how to fix the problems. That's at NFLshop.com, powered by Fanatics. Okay, guys. 17-7 in a game where, in my opinion, JC, Ryan, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the defense played great. I think if you have to look at where the positives are in this game, with the exception of Joe Burrow, 3rd and 18, running 46 yards, they didn't really give up that much, with the exception of the touchdown at the end.
Yeah, I when I saw the call, I'm sitting there watching the game with Paul Dottino, and it was 3rd and 18 at first drive, and he rushed for a first down earlier on 3rd down. Joe Burrow did when the Giants kind of had him, and then I'm like, are they in man-to-man on 3rd and 18? And for me, it was like I felt like there's other calls that could be possibly made on 3rd and 18. And then Isaiah Simmons was in the game. And, I honestly didn't think of it right then and there. But in hindsight, I'm thinking that, maybe Joe Burrow, when he saw 19 in the game, Isaiah Simmons, he's like, oh, he's blitzing. And that's why, because he was out of there quickly, fast. And that was, I think, that wasn't really on the defense. That was the call for me. It was like, why not sit back and be in coverage? The defensive line has been playing well, for weeks, and being dominant at times, give yourself a chance. And for me, out of all of defensive plays, that was the one that I would like back. Ended up being a 47-yard touchdown by Joe Burrow. But throughout the game, and we talked to Dave Stafford. I think he does play-by-play for radio for the Bengals right before the game. Right before the game. And I asked him, I said, what is it about Joe Burrow that no matter how many times he gets hit, how many times he's sacked, whatever happens, he still looks like Joe Burrow? Like he doesn't look rattled. He doesn't get rattled ever. Sunday was the first time I seen him rattled. First time I seen Joe Burrow not looking like Joe Burrow. And he even said it after the game. He said he was getting happy feet. And with that being said, the Giants just couldn't take advantage of that. Yep. I think it was 7-0 at halftime. Mm-hmm. Just 7-0 at halftime. Like I don't understand how can you not take advantage of a Cincinnati Bengals defense that's absolutely horrible. Gave up 41 points the week before, can't stop the run, terrible against the pass, got guys out on defense. I mean, they did have some guys come back. I think that helped them for sure. I think Mike Hilton's a very good player. He came back, had a pretty good game against the Giants. But come on. The 7 points, and Dayball said it, everybody said it. You cannot win games scoring 7 points. It's just not happening. And they just missed a huge opportunity because I don't think another team is going to hold Cincinnati to 17 points. I think their offense is explosive, and their defense is, I think, going to start giving them giving them opportunities to get more plays in Joe Burrow's hands. So the Giants just drop the ball with basically a stellar defensive performance against a top-tier offensive team in the Cincinnati Bengals.
If you want to think about it, they were, in essence, kind of 3 plays away from maybe even posting a shutout, right? The run by Burrow, the run at the very end of the game that made it 17, and then there was that one pass that Burrow just kind of Hail Mary'd up there and like it had eyes on it, fell right into Jamar Chase's hands. I don't know how the fuck he did that, but it was perfect. It was a perfectly thrown ball when he was moving left, threw across his body. And I don't know, fans, if you're with me on this, I don't know if you have ever tried to do that, but back in my younger years, I had a buddy of mine. We would go out there in halftime all the time and throw the ball around. And I tried to do that a couple of times, like run left and throw across your body to the left. Impossible to do. And he did it like it was like it was just nothing, Saturday breakfast. So at the end of the day, if we had those 3 plays back, right? I mean, that we're talking about maybe even a shutout of the Cincinnati Bengals. We had such a good defensive performance against an offense that virtually nobody else this year has been able to even contain, much less stop. And that fantastic defensive performance was wasted by such an inconsistent and poor performance by the offense. And it was so sad to see, because we couldn't put together. It's another example of not being able to put together complementary football. And I think that's the thing that's so disheartening, is that we've seen what can happen when we do play complementary football, when we do have an offense that's firing on all cylinders with a defense that's firing on all cylinders. We can beat a team like Seattle.
And a kicker that can make some kicks.
Thank you very much.
And we're going to get to that in a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do, I got to point out one thing too. And it's not like with our offense on Sunday night that Daniel was getting rushed like crazy. He only got sacked one time.
Yeah. I mean, the line wasn't great. There was some pressure in there, but still, he had enough time to make some throws. Right. And again, he was just inaccurate. Long. He was 2 for 9, something like that. Very inaccurate, and missed guys short, missed guys long. There were some drops. I will definitely grant you that there were some drops in there as well, but he wasn't putting them where they were supposed to be. There were a couple of 4th down plays when he put it too close to the receiver and the defender was able to get their hands on it. So.
And Darius Slayton took a beating this past week. He had to be checked out for a concussion. He's been the Iron Man in that offense.
Yep.
With Neighbors being out, if you would have asked me which of those wide receivers was going to step up and play big in the absence of Malik Neighbors, I don't think I would have said Darius Slayton. And Darius Slayton has played excellent over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I got to say this, JC, too. I one thing that really, 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 really bothered me. Daniel had an interception, but it was that interception he got hit. But you're watching the throws he was making, and a couple throws were overthrown. The decision making was compared to where it's been the last couple of weeks, very off. On Sunday.
I don't know what it is about MetLife Stadium. He just does not play well at MetLife. He does not play well at home.
Yeah.
Last year he was atrocious at home. This year, three home games against, I think, look, the Vikings are a really good team. They're a really good team. But they only scored, 2 field goals that game? 5 field goals against Dallas, 1 touchdown against one of the worst defenses in the league in the Cincinnati Bengals. That's just not good. That's not good enough, and for defense to do what they did last week, there were throws in that game. Like when he when he threw that ball, I was sitting there like this. And I wrote down in my notes, I was like, I had dumb decision, like just like the worst. Like, why throw that ball? You're in field goal range. You throw the ball. You have a red zone turnover. Like another situation where the Giants were in the red zone and they gave away points to the other team.
Yeah.
They gave them points. They didn't get points. I mean, it's literally happened every single game. Something has happened in the red zone, which the Giants came away with no points and basically gave the other team points. And they don't look the same at home as they do on the road. On the road, that Seattle game, they looked efficient. Daniel Jones threw the ball very well. He looked accurate. At home last Sunday, I'm sitting there looking like that Wan'Dale over route when he beat his defenders by like 5 yards. Like, I'm not a quarterback, but I can make that throw. And I can't throw. I cannot throw. Like, there's so many times where people see me throw, they said, oh, yeah, that's why you play defense. I can make that throw, though. I can make that throw. And it's just, he has to be able to play And not even I'm not even looking for him to be outstanding, to make those Joe Burrow type of plays. No, but you need to make the plays that are there for you, that are available for you. I say the routine plays you have to make. You combine that with the drops that they've had throughout the home games, not even throughout the home games, throughout the season, from all of the wide receivers. It hasn't been one guy. The best receiver for the New York Giants dropped 2 crucial fourth down plays throughout the season. It's the combination of those things is why the Giants are sitting where they're sitting at right now. Instead of having 3 or 4 wins possibly on their record, they only have 2, and it's nobody to blame but the offense. Like, I think defensively, they've done enough every single game to keep them in the game to win the game. Limiting Dallas to 20 points, I think that's enough. The Vikings, a different story. They're going, look, they're about to play soon to see who's the best team in the NFC. The Lions and the Vikings, we're going to see. But that's the type of team that the Vikings are. The Giants wasn't ready for them, and they showed that. But after that, the Giants look like they improved every week besides home.
Right.
I don't know what it's been at MetLife, and even the Jets stink at MetLife. I don't know what's going on at MetLife, guys.
Yeah. I saw an article. It's like the Giants can't win when you're there. They just can't.
Well, I want to throw 2 things out there too, and I'm not trying to pour it on, but I have to in this sense.
But I'm gonna anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to pour it on, but I'm going to anyway. You look at the 2 wins that we have against 2 teams that everyone had higher expectations for in the beginning of the season, Cleveland and Seattle. They're not playing great as it is anyway. So, you can say that they were playing down to our level, but maybe their level wasn't just good enough as it is. But I also want to say one other thing. We had been discussing since the beginning of the offseason with the acquisition of Brian Burns and what they were attempting to do with this defense. We knew this defense was going to be solid. This defensive line was going to pressure the quarterback and be very exciting to watch between Kayvon Thibodeau, who right now is on the IR, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and some of these people, Azeez
Ojulari. I said his name. I've been talking about him.
Yeah, and he's been playing great.
With the addition of Burns, I think Azeez is going to flourish. Kayvon going out, Azeez proved that he's one of the better edge rushers in the NFL. I'm sorry, guys.
He was the MVP of the locker room on
productive as long as he was on the field, but that was the thing. He hasn't been on the field.
Right.
Almost every single year he's played in the NFL, he's barely been on the field. The guy had I was so happy for him. He's such a good dude.
Yeah.
And to see him bounce back the way he did.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing about the defense. The defense is next guy up. Whoever's out, the next guy up. And look, they even did it on offense with Slayton and the running back when him stepping up with Singletary being out. Tyron Tracy. I'm sitting there about to say Singletary, but I'm like, I know that's not the guy.
No, that's not it.
But like they even had it too, but it's like it has to be complimentary every game. You can't miss 2 field goals. You can't look horrible on offense and your defense holds strong. You can't do that. Like you have to have an ebb and flow of every game. There's momentum in games, right? Where you don't play well and you have to come out of that, like you can't be not good for 4 quarters, like 1 quarter, okay, 2 quarters, okay, maybe even 3 quarters, but you can't be not good for the entire game on one side of the ball. That cannot happen because the defense is strong enough to hold up for like 2 quarters. You know what I mean? Like 2 quarters where the offense just really can't figure it out. They can't get nothing done. But for the whole game, scoring 7 points, like you're not beating anybody that.
No. And what scares me is the possibility if this keeps going, might build a little resentment in the locker room from the defensive guys sitting there saying, "We're doing our part. We need you guys to do our part, to do your part." And that's something that scares me.
That was actually a question that I had. I was thinking about that during the week. I was like, I'm interested in finding out from JC. Like, have you been in a situation where the defense was performing, the offense wasn't? I mean, is there animosity that forms over there, or do you really try to make it a team thing?
So the one time I feel like the offense, there was more of a turnover issue when Eli in 2016 when he just I felt like he couldn't hold on to the ball. You know, every time he had like 2-3 turnovers a game, whether it was interceptions or fumbles, but like we believed in him. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing is like, do they believe in Daniel Jones?
I don't think they can. How could they?
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. It's like, how do you like take the field with ambition, with grit, with tenacity, with fire when you don't believe about the guy on the other side? I never questioned Eli. I'm just sitting there like, damn it again. All right, guys, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we can figure out how to hold on to the ball in the fourth quarter, like Eli will win the game for us. You know, like we always had that belief in him.
Okay, sorry, but that was a conversation I had on Sunday with a couple people. Was the difference between Daniel and Eli is Eli can go out and win you games. There. Well, there's a lot of differences, but I know. No, but I'm not only Eli, but a good handful of quarterbacks out there can go out there and win you a game. Daniel Jones has not done anything in these wins to say that they won because of him. The Giants have won games, big games, because of Eli Manning.
He was one of the best clutch quarterbacks, I think. When the games were super big, super important, that's when he played his best football.
Cold as ice, this Eli.
Yeah. But that's the thing that's what makes it so glaring to not just us as, you know, people that, you know, not only watch the games as a sport, but we cover it as well. And the fans, like we know what we watched for so long. You can debate if Eli's Hall of Fame quarterback. That's a debatable conversation. But what is not debatable is his toughness, his grit, what the team is all about, what it was built off of. Defense and a tough quarterback, Phil Simms, that, you know, defense from the 90s and the 80s. Like, it was built like that.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of built like that, but it's like the one position. It's like they're not asking you to be great. Nobody's asking Daniel Jones to be great. I haven't seen nobody say, oh, he's not playing great. No one cares if he plays great, but you have to be capable. You have to be capable and win a game every now and again, because the defense is strong enough to limit one of the best offenses in the league to 17 points, to limit to the Dallas Cowboys before they, you know, shit the bed for the last couple of weeks to 20 points. Like, and even the Vikings, they had 26, 29. What was that first game? Like, they got blown out, but it wasn't horrible considering what they did on offense. Because when you only score 6 points on offense, the other team usually has 40. Because they punt so many times, they get so many opportunities, because the Vikings can do that, and they didn't do that. Even though the quarterback, Sam Darnold had a great night, but it wasn't like crazy numbers. Like, it was a blowout, but it could have got out of control if the defense didn't at least slow them down a little bit. It's not, for me, it's not a dumpster fire quite yet, but Daniel Jones has to figure out how to play at home, because on the road, he's a capable quarterback, and that's all the Giants need, and they've won the 2 games because of that. But he cannot play so poorly at home. The Eagles coming in here, look, they're not the same team as they were early in last year. They're not the same team in 2022. Okay, but they still have A.J. Brown. He's averaging 120 yards a game. Saquon Barkley is over 5 yards a carry. When was the last time he's done that? They have a capable tight. I don't know if it's Goddard's injured or hurt, but capable tight end, great number 2 wide receiver. And if Jalen Hurts plays like he does against the Giants, because for some reason he plays poorly, not against us, and then he plays very well against the Giants are going to get smoked if they do what they did last week on offense, scoring 7 points or a couple of field goals, a couple missed field goals. Let's say they make all their field goals. It was only 13 points on the board, right? They're going to get smoked if they don't score more than that. And that's not even me saying the Eagles are going to score 28 points. That's me saying the Eagles are going to score 20 or 17 points, because I think the defense can limit them. But it's not going to matter if the offense is atrocious. It's just not going to matter.
I think what gets me about Daniel is the disparity of what he looks like when he's playing well and what he looks like when he's playing terribly. right? Because there's such a huge pendulum swing in there. It's not like if he has a bad game, he's moderately worse than he is when he has a pretty good game, right? That middle ground isn't there. He's either like super good or he's really fucking bad, right?
Well, let me expound on your point, right? Look at Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow against the Bengals looked awesome.
Yeah.
400 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, just one interception at the end of the game. Like, play lights out. His bad game was against the Giants.
That's right.
He still made incredible throws during the game and had an incredible 47-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So I get you what you're saying, Ryan. I get you.
And oh, sorry,
I gotta hit my face.
I was just gonna say, I mean, the thing about that gets me about this year is that the division is the most competitive it has been in years, right? I mean, Dallas is not what they were last year. The Eagles are not what they have been the last 2 years. Ironically enough, neither are the Commanders. I think they're going to come back down to earth. And so at the end of the day, this year is our best opportunity to put something together and actually make a run for the division. But we can't put it together, right? We have the pieces. We've seen that we have the pieces. We know what this team can play like. It's just that they lack the consistency to be able to do that week in and week out. And that seems to be the big problem with Daniel. Which Daniel are you going to get? Are you going to get the playoff caliber Daniel, or are you going to get the one that shits the bed and misses throws all the time?
Yeah. And to add on to that, as the Eagles come in, JC, when was your rookie season again?
09, my rookie year.
Well, since you've entered the league, JC, this is what the Giants' record has been against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, here we go. 7-25.
The question is though, how many what's the record in the last 6 with Daniel Jones?
Mm-hmm.
I can give you that. I think I can give you that record.
Because I know I beat the Eagles at least a couple of times.
Yeah.
You remember those games.
Not too many times, but we beat them a couple of times for sure.
That's all it takes.
I'll get you that right now. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, though, guys, this is this is good. This could get ugly really quickly.
Or it could be a winnable game. I mean, that's the thing that you just never know.
It is a winnable game. If
they play like they played against Seattle, of course it's a winnable game. If they play like they played against the Bengals, no way we can win that game. You just said it before. We're gonna get smoked if we play like that, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
can we just real quick? Can we all be on the same page about this? How happy were we to see Dallas get friggin' ran a train on?
I watched every down of that game. When he threw that ball to Laporta, I almost shit myself. It was fantastic.
JC, I don't know where you were in the stadium, but when
I was doing pregame. I was doing the pregame show.
No, but when they showed the highlights in stadium and they said, meanwhile, in Dallas, and they started showing the highlights, the crowd was going crazy. I was like, why are they cheering? And I'm like, this is the loudest they've been all night. And it was like, Detroit was up 49 or 47-6. And we were just like, yeah, jeez. That was
like the crowd was like. I know we're not feeling good about the Giants, but at least that was a little solace. You know what I mean? Like I was sitting there like, and then they were playing with them, like they were playing with their food, bro. Yeah. That was the best part. That was the best part.
I thought the funniest part was when Detroit put their cheerleaders in and they were scoring touchdowns on the fourth quarter. I thought that was the really interesting part.
Bro, they were splitting out linemen. They threw a hook and ladder play to Penei Sewell. Right?
Penei Sewell, I love that one.
Now they're just making stuff up. They're just having fun now.
Oh, yeah. I kept getting reminded of that quote from Stewie. It's like, this is so delicious. It just has to be fattening.
That's hilarious.
JC, do you agree with me on a lighter note from Sunday night? That was probably one of the best pre-games that we've seen with the national anthem and the fireworks and everything on the field. I sent you that picture.
I think I posted that or didn't post it.
The last good thing we saw on the field.
Yeah, it was.
No, the halftime ceremony was great too.
Okay, so I got to ask this question. Okay, now, JC, I understand it's the 100th season, and there's different celebrations we have. Not that we don't want reminders of how we beat the Patriots twice, but my God, this is like the 19th time we've honored the 7 in the 2011 teams. But am I right or wrong, Jason? Because you and I are in the stadium. It's like, all right, we're honoring the 2011 team again.
Hey, it is what it is. See, that's the thing. The thing is with New York, the standard is Super Bowl. Like, that's the standard.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're not meeting that standard, you're gone. Like, it's just what it is, you know? Like, they've done it in the 80s. They did it in the 90s. They did it in the 2000s, you know? So the Giants have a standard, you know? So for me, right now, it's like, I don't care what anybody says, guys. This is not playing up to the standard, and that's why the fans are frustrated, because they have been spoiled 4 Super Bowls over the last, I guess, 30-something years. That's a good amount. You know, it's not compared to what Tom Brady has done, but at least it's not one like the Eagles or none like the Cowboys, or, you know, was it one with the Commanders or none?
No,
Doug Williams. When was that? In the 70s, 80s with Doug Williams?
No, that was late 80s, early 90s.
So it's like in the last 30 years, the Giants have won 4 Super Bowls. Like, they have a standard. They have a culture, you know, and this team with this quarterback, they're just falling short of what people are used to, you know, and even the kids, you know, maybe not the young kids, but the teenagers, you know, they remember Victor Cruz salsa dancing. You know what I mean? Like, they remember all of those things. Like, you know, the Giants have to get back to those winning ways. And it doesn't mean that you have to be dominant every year, because the last 2 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken, the Giants were wild cards, 9-7 records.
Yeah, they were, both of them.
So you don't even have to be that great during the regular season, but you have to win in the postseason.
Ryan, I don't want to correct it. 2011, the last game of the season was for the division. Because they were able to host Atlanta in that first game.
Right, you are. Leave it to Randy to know all that stuff.
It's I don't know why. It's
these are the things that rattle around in his brain at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I'm a sick man. With that being said, let's go on to our little math equations that we sort of did last time. We worked very well before we go into trivia. And this is the first one that is always going to be interesting. We've been talking about Daniel Jones, but here's the first one. JC, I'll let you take the first stab at this one. Here we go. Here's your first equation for today. So
yeah, I mean, it's in the situation that they're in now with the Giants, with Andrew Thomas being out for the season and Daniel Jones having an injury clause in there. It's like, does something happen in terms of the movement of the quarterback? Because if he gets hurt, the Giants are on the hook, you know. And if I was him, like, look, before this year, right? Even this year, I'm just sitting there like, I don't understand why he doesn't slide. I don't understand why he takes so many unnecessary hits. But now at this point, look, I may not be like a fan of him as the quarterback for the Giants, but he's still a football player. He works hard. He deserves to be where he's at. He does, even though he's not performing up to the standard of what we're used to seeing from Eli Manning, right? If he gets hurt, he's gonna get money. He's gonna get money. So it's like the Giants, I feel like, are in a situation where it's like, I think you have to consider the alternative. You know, like, do you play him knowing that he's not protected as he once was when Andrew Thomas is healthy? So, like, I don't know if that's a situation where they're actually considering, but I mean, would you consider it, Ryan? I don't know.
Well,
you know?
so
here's 3 options.
Yeah, I mean, sit him, keep him playing, or trade him, right?
Who's going to trade for Daniel Jones?
CFL.
You know what? So,
sheesh, Randy.
Come on. At least he didn't say XFL. I mean, Jesus.
Sheesh.
But I mean, so Daniel Jones, as inconsistent as his performances have been, if you look at who gives you the best chance to win week to week, what quarterback on your roster gives you the best chance to win week to week? And as inconsistent as it's been, the answer is Daniel Jones, because I don't think Drew Lock is going to go in there and start lighting everything up. I don't think Tommy Cutlets, he hasn't even dressed, right? I don't think he's going to go in there and start lighting it up. If you are trying, if you are at the point in your season, and with the division being as competitive as it is this year, you are still in it at 2-5. If you start stringing together a couple of wins, all of a sudden you're at 4-5, right? And with the other teams in the division not doing so hot, you are going to be in the mix for a divisional playoff possibility longer than later in the season than you would have been previously. So it's the rock and the hard place that we find ourselves in is that, is he the quarterback of our future? No. Is he the guy that gives us the best chance to win at this point and potentially even make a playoff run? Yes. So, I mean, you're kind of stuck in that situation. I mean, if you bench him now, right, to save the money later on, right, you have given up on your season. You've given up on your season.
But the one thing, though, is this is the situation the Giants put themselves in. Because if you had to compare Drew Lock to Tyrod Taylor, okay, the Giants, again, it was a little conspiracy theory joke we had earlier in the year, but I felt that they signed Drew Lock and they kept Tommy DeVito there to solidify that Daniel Jones was going to be their guy.
Yeah.
So if he struggled, they said, you know what? Out of the three options, Daniel's still the best guy. If Tyrod Taylor was still here, you have the argument of saying, you know what? If he's struggling, we're going to put Tyrod out there because Tyrod has equity in this league. He's won games in this league. He's taken teams to the playoff in this league with similar situations with the same staff that he's playing for.
But there's reasons why we couldn't sign up Tyrod again.
It's because, we know the reasons why he couldn't sign up Tyrod.
I think the main reason was his injuries.
Yeah,
I just feel like you have an injured quarterback in Daniel Jones who's coming back from an ACL injury, and literally every time Tyrod steps on the field, he gets hurt.
Yep,
and I love Tyrod. I think
he's still offered him a deal.
Quarterback.
But they still offered him a deal, and they offered him more money than on the last deal. He decided not to take it to go to the Jets because he didn't feel that he was getting treated right. When he was ready back healthy from his injuries, Tommy DeVito was still starting games. So he felt disrespected. The Giants offered more money, and he still went to go to the Jets.
Okay. That's my fault then.
But the Jets did give him more money than we offered him, right?
But the Giants gave him more money than the contract that he had previously.
Mm-hmm.
So to me,
I mean,
so to me,
would you take a contract that was worth less? Would you ask for less than you made the year before?
Yeah. Listen, I don't want the same amount of money. If you want to give me less, I get it.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll play for less.
But listen, but what I'm saying is, I honestly felt they put Drew Lock out there. It was like, again, JC, you and I were at camp. We watched him. It was so difficult to watch Drew Lock out there. I felt that they put him out there to solidify that Daniel's the starter. And now you're struggling with him, and now he becomes your best option, even when he's playing terrible. There's two other, there's the options I had in mind was A, you sit him, B, you find a way to trade him, you let him just ride it out, or you put bubble wrap on him and just hope he doesn't stub his toe or do anything, and make sure you pass that physical at the end of the year.
Option number 2 and 4 is not happening.
Right.
But
bubble wrap.
Look, I do think the Giants are going to trot him out there. But when you said, Ryan, that is he to give us the best chance, I don't know. Yeah. You know why I'm saying I don't know? Because of what we were talking about earlier about do they believe in him, right? Yeah. Tommy DeVito, we overlooked this kid. Last year, no one gave him a chance, but they believed in him and they played like it. It doesn't really matter all the time about what your quarterback is doing in terms of the numbers. If he's not turning the ball over that much and your team believes in him, they rise the way they play.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I've seen
Let me ask you this. This is interesting. Let me ask you this. If Drew Lock weren't on the team and there were only 2 quarterbacks, it was Daniel Jones and Tommy Cutlets, who would be your starting quarterback right now?
It's still the same thing. It's still Daniel Jones.
It's still Daniel? You think Daniel, I mean, like after all the things that we just talked about believing in the guy and being the guy that gives you the best chance to win.
I think you're
because it's not the player's choice, Ryan. You know what I mean? Like it's not the player's choice. It's definitely Joe Shane and Dayball, and I mean, and probably Mara too.
Yeah,
Mara definitely has some say in that. You know,
a lot of it.
Signing the checks.
And for me, it's like if the players had a choice, I think they would put Tommy up there. I think if the players say, "Hey, let's vote," I think it would be a landslide to say Tommy DeVito. You know, because I think everyone kind of knows what they're going to get with Daniel Jones, right? And I think nobody wants to see what their chances are with Locke. I don't think they want to see that. But Tommy plays exciting ball. Tommy throws a pretty good deep ball, right? And he goes out there with that moxie and that swag. That stadium last year was dead until Tommy DeVito came in there, right? And it's dying now. I watched the game go from last week, from the game being like fired up in the beginning, you know, like everything's like, you know, like I'm getting goosebumps, guys, talking about it, because I remember being in MetLife and playing in front of that crowd. It died quickly because of the offense.
And I got to tell you, man, the one thing you don't want for Daniel is the crowd to totally turn on him when they start chanting for Tommy.
Well, they've already turned on him.
Well, they turned on him, but they haven't started chanting for Tommy, but that could be.
I don't think they'll chant for Tommy, but the Boo Birds will be out. And the thing is, and this is where I got to tip my hat off to the Giants fans, because it was not that many boos last week. I think the Giants offense kind of deserved some boos. And I'm saying that from my teams that I play for getting booed. And I'm just thinking, like, if you're going to boo us and doing what we did, you should be booing that stuff that we saw last Sunday for sure. So I think the crowd, they want to see something.
Yeah,
they're waiting. They were patient. They're desperate, but they were patient last week. I think it was a little bit respect out there for what the Giants were doing for the 100th-year ceremony. You know, before the game, halftime, I think it was a little bit like, all right, guys, like, all right, let's be a little bit patient with these guys. You know, like, you know what I'm saying?
What they can do. Let's hope that they bring that right.
That is not going to happen this weekend against Philly. Not 2 weeks in a row. Not happening. It ain't happening. It is not happening against Philly, guys. It can get ugly early. And I'm talking about if the offense struggles, those Boo Birds are going to be out very early.
Yeah.
Well, the transition to continue on with our equations here, we were talking about Andrew Thomas before, so let's do this one right now. No Thomas equals fear or Evan Neal options. I
think the fear is the Evan Neal
option. So here's the thing. I have an interesting thought about this, right? I mean, there's been a lot of kerfuffle. Love that word. There's been a lot of discussion about what they ought to do, right? I mean, do you move Illuminor over to the left and you know, play Evan Neal in his spot where he's supposed to be better, right, than he was last year? Or do you do what we're planning on doing now? Leave Illuminor on the right and then have Azudu go in on the left. And if you need to, have Evan Neal through. I agree with what they're talking about now with leaving Illuminor on the right and putting in Azudu or maybe even Neal, because if you remember, I think one of the reasons why Evan Neal struggled in this league is that we took him out of position, right? He was a starting left tackle at Alabama, and he was locking it down. He was doing very, very well, and then we got him on the Giants, and we put him on the right, and all of a sudden he couldn't play. So I'm not all that upset about the possibility of Neal being on the left, back in his most comfortable position. Or as Azudu, I'm not super excited about because we've seen what he was like in the preseason. He has had a number of weeks of additional practice under Carmen Brasilio, which I think will help him. But if you take Illuminor off of the right and you put Evan Neal on the you take him off the right, you put him on the left, and you put Evan Neal back on the right, then you've got two question marks, right? Instead of just the one question mark on the left, having left Illuminor on the right. Does that make sense?
No, I hear what you're saying.
It's a bad algebra equation. I apologize.
So this is the deal, right? So, you know, me and Smokey, we were talking throughout the pregame show, when we were doing like the interviews, the pre-recorded interviews and stuff. And he showed me that play that the Giants had gave up against the Seahawks when they drove all the way down and Gray fumbled. That play, Azudu, he was in the game. He's been playing, guys. He was horrible. He got destroyed. It was very bad. And then we also looked at how many snaps Evan Neal had.
0.
So I said, well, let's see how many special team snaps they have because they always bring in extra tackles, extra linemen.
0.
Evan Neal has not had a snap on offense or special teams. Mind you, the Giants have brought in extra linemen to run goal line sets, to run, tackle over, to run, jumbo sets. It's been Azudu. And Evan Neal has not played. He's not even the top 7 linemen, guys. Yeah. So it's like, I don't think he can play. And I'm not saying like he can't physically do it. For me, I have to see it again. I think he showed us that he couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like in the past tense. But as of right now, they're not going to play him if he hasn't played. I just don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think they are definitely going to start with Azudu on the left. I don't think that's going to last very long. I guess that's the point that I was trying to make. I mean,
but that's a whole different equation right there. Yeah. You think he's going to be very poor. That basically Evan Neal is going to get the nod at left.
He's going to have to.
But
or possibly switch Illuminor and Evan Neal right.
I don't think
either one of those. That's what you're
saying. I think that's 2 question marks. Can Illuminor go and play
so you're
on the
thinking
left?
Azudu struggles, Evan Neal goes left after whatever 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever the case is.
Agreed. Yeah, gotcha. That's what I think.
Yeah, gotcha. That's his natural position on the left-hand side anyway. So let's just put him back where it belongs.
Yeah, and look, they need to bolster the line anyway. I'd be very surprised if we didn't see some additional players coming in on the practice squad and maybe getting elevated.
They signed Chris Hubbard. I know that they signed Chris Hubbard.
There you go. Yeah. So I mean, I know that there's contingency plans in the works, but I mean, we've seen Azudu, right? We have not seen Evan Neal in his quote unquote natural position on the left. And I guess the question that I keep asking myself is, how does it happen that someone goes from being a top 10 pick, a number 7 overall, with a team that has done their research? There are guys that scouted him across the NFL and all had him ranked very, very high. How does somebody come into the NFL after such an amazing collegiate career and absolutely shit the bed when it comes to the line play? I mean, I could see if it's a quarterback and it's entirely different and the speeds are different and the playbooks are way more expansive and difficult and so on and so forth. But, I mean, how do you go from that good to that bad in such a short time? So I still have to believe that there's some degree of capability there that we just haven't seen and we haven't tapped into, and maybe it's because he's out of position.
Honestly, that's a great question. That is a great question because, like, I haven't seen somebody fall off the face of the earth like that in a long time. I think Aaron Curry did it.
I was going to say, how high was Eric Flowers? Yeah,
Eric Flowers.
Eric Flowers, but Eric Flowers actually played in the NFL for an extensive period of time, and he moved in the guard and he had some success. So I wouldn't even put him in that category. There's guys out there that was drafted very high and didn't pan out. I wouldn't put Eric Flowers in it because I think he had a pretty decent career. Look, it's tough to play in the NFL, guys.
Sure.
And when you're in college, your size and your speed, you can dominate. You can, but when you get to the NFL, your size and speed is not enough to dominate. Like Dexter Lawrence, right? He has size, he has speed, but he also has tenacity. He has explosiveness. He has like the mindset that I'm going to physically kick your fucking ass every play.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother world in itself. When you combine that with he's 350 pounds, he's faster than every single offensive lineman. He's quicker than every single offensive lineman. He's stronger than them. And he has that mentality. Bro, I think he's going to win defensive MVP of the year. I mean, the way he's playing. Like if you single block him, shame on you.
Yeah,
if you single block Dexter Lawrence, you're a fool. If you single block him, he's that dominant. But that's the thing. He's the guy that's setting the tone for the defense, and everybody else is doing better because of it, besides the offense, which in return supposed to be complimentary football. Let's get Joe Burrow off the field, get you the ball. Let's get Joe Burrow to punt the ball, which they don't punt. Let's get, you know what I mean? Like, those are things that's supposed to happen when you have a dominant player like that, right? Lamar Jackson on Baltimore. If Baltimore defense struggles, Lamar Jackson is going to do what he needs to do to get it done. Derrick Henry, same thing. If Lamar Jackson's struggling, Derrick Henry's going to carry the load. That's complimentary football. It goes from offense to defense. It's not just offensively that one person's struggling and you got to pick up the slack on offense. No, it's if the offense is struggling, the defense has to pick up the slack. If your defense is dominating, offense, just be capable. Let
me ask you this. I just had a thought that went across my ridiculously warped mind. And it was that if we know that we cannot get a consistent performance out of Daniel Jones, we don't know what we're going to get week to week. If we start seeing early in the first quarter that it's one of those performances that, is he's missing throws, he's making bad reads, he's missing open receivers, things like that. Can you, with Singletary and the only person that really was producing on offense in terms of, yardage and whatnot, running the ball, can we rely on a two-headed monster of Singletary and Tracy and switch things up to being a little bit more run-heavy than pass-heavy?
No, you can't do that in the NFL nowadays. Unless you're Baltimore and you have the quarterback run option being there and you have Derrick Henry, who is a freaking monster. Yeah. But even them, they throw the ball. Yeah. They run the ball a little bit more, but look at what they're doing when they run the ball. The Giants have done that once, maybe twice this year. Yeah. They do that every game. Yeah, I hear you. And then they still have Lamar. So the game is different now. The way it's slated now, you cannot run the ball for 60% of the snaps. It has to be, if any nod, it's like 52 to 48. Yeah. And I think that's probably what Baltimore is at, which is pretty good for, 2024, where 60% throwing the ball to 40% running the ball is not, that's pretty average. That's pretty standard average in the NFL, right? Yeah. Yeah.
And not only that, but that was in 2022, that was Dable hiding some of Daniel's deficiencies by being able to have him run and also having Barkley. And Ryan, like you were just saying before, remember it was Joe Shane who said during Hard Knocks, I don't want my $40 million quarterback keep handing off the ball to.
But even Randy, I have to fight that because Daniel Jones threw the ball well to not so talented wide receivers. Between the hashes, Daniel Jones was on point. He didn't go deep. He did not go deep at all. But between the hashes, bro, he hit every pass. He was on point to Richie James. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that was the number one receiver. Richie James was. Slayton was there too, but Richie James, when you had to have it, bro, Richie James could get open. He wasn't that explosive or dynamic, but Daniel Jones was hitting him consistently. Now he's missing guys, and if he hits a guy in his hands, the percent of them dropping is probably like 20% now, which is insane. And it's like the team, I wouldn't say the team has regressed because I feel like they have taken steps forward in terms of talent, especially at wide receiver, and especially among the offensive line play. But in terms of performance from the wide receiver group collectively without Neighbors, it's not been that great because of the drops. Yeah. Slayton, though he had a great game, he still had to drop that game.
Well, and it's also because of this too, which is our next one on the board here.
Yeah.
Was it even 40 yards? Was both of them 40 yards? I thought it was shorter.
Both of them are 40 yards.
Again, it's just the inconsistency, right? I mean, and I don't know if you saw that first one that he missed. It looked like it was on track, and then it's like somebody, some day he came down and flicked it, and it just took a hard left, and that was it, But I mean, again, you don't know what you're going to get. You just don't know when you trot your quarterback out there and you don't know what you're going to get. When you trot your kicker out there and you just don't know what you're going to get, you're in a bad spot, guys. We've got talent. There's all kinds of talent out there. But if it's inconsistent, you don't know what you're going to get. How can you plan for that? How can you put together a game plan?
You can't
with that.
You can't. Real quick, let's get these other two out. We were talking about Dexter Lawrence before. I did a little searching around on the 2 wins that we had, and I noticed this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got what, 6 on the year at this point?
That 6 or 7 now.
Is it 6 or 7? It might be 7 now. It might be 7 now. Yeah.
He's
a beast. Like he's a monster.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I don't know if I posted the other day. I had reposted this. He had 91 pressures as a nose tackle, and the second closest was like 14 or 17.
Oh shit. But I guess that's the frustrating part, right? Because it's wasted talent. If you're gonna hold Joe Burrow to what they held him to, 17 points, and Burrow only scored 1 on the ground, right? Didn't even do it in the air, right? And your offense is going to give you 7 points. You need to win that game. And so I don't know. It's rough.
So when I was walking through the parking lot at the end of the game the other night, I saw some people talking to me about the offense, and they said they actually had a drinking game going in the stadium on the offense. Every single time either it was a missed throw or a turnover on downs.
I hope not. That's alcohol poisoning by the middle of the second.
That's why the last one is this one.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. If I still drank alcohol, it would be a problem.
Yeah.
It would be a major problem.
Oh God. Look, in my opinion, again, I have never played the game of football. I got picked last in flag football. All right. Like I got picked last in Madden. I got picked last in Madden. Okay. I just want to let so with that being said, like JC, you're the only one on this call right now who could experience the NFL game. They're not doing this on purpose. The guys are not tanking on purpose to help the future, because guys play for their jobs. There's pride. But like, everyone kept on saying in 2017 when the season got out of control, well, they're just going to play for a high draft pick there. Guys were playing for their jobs. Man.
Yeah, they don't do that. I haven't known a team to do that.
Yeah. So
besides the Miami Dolphins, didn't the Miami Dolphins try to do that a couple years ago?
Yeah, and they still did good.
Okay.
Yeah, they
still did better than the Giants.
But that doesn't happen. I think what we're seeing here is, and I'm not even like assuming, it's just what we're seeing. A guy that cannot perform when the lights are bright. A guy that cannot perform in front of the lights in night games, at primetime games, at home. He just can't perform. Like he hasn't done it. The last 2 years, he has not done it.
No.
2022, he did do it. I think he threw the ball very well. He was very efficient with his passing. They didn't ask him to do too much. They didn't ask him to throw the ball down the field. But he excelled at what they asked him to do. Now they're asking him to do different things, and he's failing at it miserably. And on the road, he's kind of passing with like a C grade. It doesn't look great, but still looks good.
So what you're saying
at home, fail.
Completely failure. So what you're saying is he sucks totally at home and he's sucking less on the road.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what we talked about last time we had a show, right? That's where the bar is, right? It's don't be fucking terrible. That's the bar. And if you can play a game and not be fucking terrible, then you will have succeeded, right?
You'll give your team a chance because the defense is that good.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, right? I'm looking at the drives from last week, right? Watch this, right? I'm just going to read off the possessions, right? Last week the Bengals got the ball first. But I want to read off, because this is what we saw, right?
It's the box score.
Bengals scored first, right? The Giants punted. The Bengals punted. The Giants threw that horrible interception, Bengals punted. Giants punted. Bengals punted. Giants punted. Bengals punted. Giants punted. Bengals punted. End of half. Right. Next one. Turnover on downs for the Giants. Right.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Second half. Turnover on downs. Fumble by the Bengals. Touchdown for the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Momentum swing.
Field goal. Missed field goal by the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Punt. Another turnover on downs. Touchdown. Missed field goal. End of game. All of those possessions in the first half where the Bengals couldn't do anything, you got to score at least 10 points.
Yeah.
And that's not even
least.
asking. That's not asking a lot.
Right.
That's not asking a lot when you
Yes.
force a team to punt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row. When you
One of
make
the
them
most
punt
prolific
5
offenses in the
times
league.
in a row, you have to score. And like you said, I'm even giving them a low ball. 10 points.
Yeah.
10 points. The
What
game
about
is
it?
different. The flow of the game is different. And you give yourself a better chance to win at the end.
And how many times have we done that this season? Right? How many times have we had an opportunity to go down there and score more points and win games? Guys, we could be, we could be at 4-2 right now. I mean, it's but it's
That's the amazing
That sounds so crazy to say out loud.
but it's true. I mean, if you think about it, we were a few possessions, a few touchdowns away from being 4-2.
A drop here, a drop there.
A missed
right,
field goal
early in the
here,
season.
made field goal
Yep.
there,
Yep.
but it's all shoulda, woulda, coulda. And that's what's pissing me off, right? It's all shoulda, woulda, coulda.
And by the way, the one thing that drove me crazy on Sunday night was 4th and 3 in the fourth quarter, and how Daniel tried to force that throw.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
I think Wandale was open on that.
Yeah,
play
he
too.
was. That's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. Missing reads.
and
He had a guy
JC yelled at
open.
me. And JC yelled at me. And JC yelled at me because I made the suggestion of running because Tracy was actually moving the ball when he was.
I didn't yell at you, but nobody's going to run the ball on 4th and 3.
and 3. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm sitting there saying to myself, I'm like, maybe they should because Tracy's actually running well.
Maybe he should just hit the open receiver. How about that? Can we do that?
Well, I was trying to be logical.
Whoa.
I was trying to be logical. I'm
Fucking
trying to come up with
crazy.
an alternate things that works.
Madness.
Yeah,
Madness.
Ryan's talking about things that actually might work, Ray. Excuse me.
I'll be over here pressing buttons if you need me. Okay.
Oh my god! Here, let's do the trivia. Come on.
All right.
Let's stop thinking about this bullshit.
So, trivia is brought to you by our good friends over at Foco.com. Get your Giants accessories now, whether it's mugs, bobbleheads, anything with the Giants logo on it. It's available right now at Foco.com. Go there, get it today. Okay. Giants-Eagles oriented question. Here it comes.
starting quarterback. How many quarterbacks did the Eagles have through that time frame? Oh, this was when they were in that revolving door. Yes,
It's not as high as you think it is.
No. But I'm trying to think about it. So they did have Gardner Minshew. No,
They did not have Gardner.
they did not. They didn't have him yet. But that was the Carson Wentz years, right?
Carson Wentz.
And it was
Who they went to
Field,
Super Bowl with? Foles. Yeah.
Foles, Nick Foles.
I gave you
right?
that one, yes, but Foles.
Yeah. I was going to say Feely, but he was our kicker. So I'm going to guess 4. I'm going to guess 4.
Definitely more than 4. I got 5.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm thinking it's more than 5 because I got McNabb.
Yep.
I got Michael Vick.
Yep.
Oh
Nick
yeah. Yeah.
I have Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I have Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Oh, Sam Bradford. Hold on.
No.
2019. 2019.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
take over. Sam Bradford. So that's 5.
I'm gonna change my number.
I feel like I'm missing somebody. I got 5 right now.
Yeah.
I didn't look at 2019. My fault. I saw 04, but
You need to give us some multiple choice. I don't know what you're doing giving us free form answers, Randy. Come on.
yeah, what is this?
Okay, I'll give you some choices. That's fine. I'll give you A 8,
Uh-huh.
B 7, C 6, D 12.
All right, I'll go C. 6.
6. I'm going to see 6 too. because I got 5, and I'm probably only missing 1.
6 is the correct answer, John.
Hey!
Who did I miss? Who did I miss?
Okay, I gotta pull it up again. Jesus. So you had.
Because I said McNabb, Vic, Wentz, Foles,
Bradford, right?
Yeah, there was one more, and I saw it before. Let me see if I still have it up.
Throwy McThrowerson.
I like that. I'll look at that right now. Sorry. So you had Sam Bradford,
Yeah,
which was good. Good job on his part. You had Nick Foles. Oh, okay. Here it was. You ready? You had Mark Sanchez.
Oh, the Sanchez. Wow, I forgot about
totally
that.
forgot he was there. Totally forgot.
Well, it was a hot minute, right? I mean, it was like not long.
A game or two, probably.
Yeah, it was
maybe
literally
a game or two.
It was a game or two, but he did start.
Wow.
And then you look at some of the backups they had during that time, where you had Vince Young.
Really?
And Kevin Cobb. Oh, AJ Feely.
That's the guy.
Honestly, if you'd have said Cobb, I'd have believed that over Sanchez.
Yeah, right. Seriously,
he did start. He started a game too, but
wow.
yeah, it's very interesting. Mike McMahon, Jeff Garcia.
Jeff Garcia.
These are some backups.
Man,
yeah.
Hey, remember when Mike Vick took over though? Oh my God.
You want to talk about a shit show? There was protests going on.
Gosh.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was right off. That was
First
right off
played
his
a game
prison
against Washington. Yeah, first played again against Washington with 80 yards to Deshaun Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I was home watching that, like, oh my gosh, Vic is back.
Oh shit,
Vic is back.
Straight out the big house.
I was gonna say he was well rested. He wasn't doing much, guys.
Hey, three hot meals in the cot.
3 hots in a cot. That's it.
Yeah.
They reenacted the longest yard.
That's right. That's right.
Guys, let's do a prediction real quick for the weekend. I know you don't want to, but
well, look, I mean, again, it's which one are you gonna get? It's either gonna be like 28-17 Giants, or it's gonna be like 34-6 Eagles.
Jeez.
So I'll go first. I have actually 2 scores going on in my head. I have
Ryan just went first.
All right, seriously, those are mine too. I'm in.
All right. I'm throwing another one in there. I got 28-6 Eagles. I have 16-6 Saquon, and and now
Saquon's going to be running with the chip, fellas.
Yeah. Listen, that's a good question too. How do you think the fans are going to respond to him? Because there's some
they're going to boo him so bad.
He doesn't think so. He's like, I think I'm going to go out there and get cheered. I think there's a lot of respect between me and the Giant. Dude, you better hope you can have security take you from the bus and to the bus. That's pretty much what's going to happen in this game.
They're going to boo him. Oh my gosh. Let me read off what. Oh my gosh. The Saints gave up 594 yards last week. They're at 390 tonight. 51 points last week. 225 rushing yards tonight, 277 rushing yards last week. Oh my gosh.
Against Bo Nix and the Broncos.
So bad. But 600 yards is crazy. 51 points is insane.
And you know what? The Saints are going to give up 220 yards to the Giants. That's it. Sorry.
You think it's going to be that much?
Is it in New Orleans?
It's home.
Yeah, no. So it's like 185 then. Yeah.
Jeez. Look at these home games. I gotta look at the home games.
We got
yourself a favor.
We got the Commanders.
Okay, we got the Bucks at home.
Bucks, yeah. We had the
And
Colts
Baltimore
at
home.
Baltimore at home.
That's gonna be.
I'm gonna be sick that day. Yeah.
The Commanders at home.
Yeah.
Giants can't win when you're there. Sorry, guys.
I just got to tell you something. What scares me is what happens if we go across the pond and lose to the Panthers? Is that when heads roll? If that happens, sure. Yeah, I think if we go out to overseas and lose to the Panthers, I don't think anybody. I don't think there's be people who don't make it back.
At that point, the Giants' record would be 2-3 and like 8 or 9. You know what I mean? So that's done. And then that would be like, all right. Okay, what are we you know what I mean? What are we doing? What are we gonna do here?
Okay, fine.
It has to be that. You know what I'm saying? It has to be that. Because if not, it's like,
well, we've been talking all year about where's the line.
Our fans, I think they're true fans, meaning like they love you when you're winning and they curse you when you're not. Like, I think that's a true fan. That is a real fan. Like, New Orleans fans, I think they're a little delusional. I think they're a little bit, stuck in what we did in 2009 and what that team meant to Katrina back then. So they still love the Saints. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they still do. Not the Giants fans. They don't play like that. They want to see wins. And with the Yankees and the Mets doing what they're doing right now, they need it because the Jets are not good. They can't. They need to see some success on the football field. First of all, they're not going to show up. Nope. And when they do show up, they're going to be pissed off and they can't wait to boo. Can't wait to boo.
And you just said something so real between the Yankees and Mets in the playoffs, the Knicks being as good as they were last year, and the hockey is going to be, high expectation.
Yeah.
If you're not winning, they're going to be like, we're putting our tickets on the secondary market, and that's an invite for all the visiting teams to come out and.
It makes for some cheap seats. Yeah.
No, not really, but you still go out there. You still go out there and like we'll go down early sometimes. I remember back a couple of years ago, right before COVID, we as media members would go down during the fourth quarter and we would go stand in the tunnel. And those 2017, 2018, 2019 seasons when we were struggling, you'd go stand on the field in that fourth quarter and you feel that you're at away games.
Yeah.
Like I remember Seattle in 2017. It felt like at the end of the game that we were in Seattle. The amount of Seahawk fans that were there. They had the players running around giving high fives.
I mean, the last Sunday, Ryan, real quick, at the end of the game, because it's late, you know what I mean? Like it's a night game. Like, like guys, people gotta go to work. Like this is a working class fan base. You know what I mean? People got to go to work. They would stay if they would stay for something.
Yep.
If the Giants showed, and if it was like, let's say it was 23-24, and like the Giants, turned the ball over late, then they would leave late in the fourth quarter. They're gone by the middle of the fourth quarter. They're out of there because of traffic. MetLife is a zoo when you leave. Yeah. Luckily, I don't leave till 2 a.m., so there's no traffic when I leave.
You ain't got to go to work anymore.
I'm getting home the same time as Joe Smo from Central Jersey because they got to sit in traffic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you that. Like I was watching because it was close. It was close on Sunday. A lot of the fans stuck it out, and then as soon as the 4th and 3 happened.
Yeah.
It was collective. It was collective. Everybody up, everyone down. Bengals fans went down closer, and they celebrated with their team. Hopefully, I'm wondering what the percentage is going to be on Sunday.
Oh, it's going to be 60-40. I mean, maybe Giants to Eagles. You know what I mean? I just think it's going to be a tremendous number of Eagles.
Fans.
I know, man. I know, but.
Not as much as the Cowboys, but
I hear you, but just fucking buckle up, guys, because that's what it's going to be.
I got this one guy. He's like a little brother to me. I posted about, the Giants losing to the Cowboys, and he put like a big Eagles, fly Eagles fly with the Eagles emoji.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you want to get blocked? Do you want to get blocked? Don't play with me right now.
I've got a bunch of friends that live in Philadelphia. They're my fraternity brothers. I'm going to give one. Wilbur, here's your preemptive fuck you. All right, I know.
Okay. That's John Stewart addressing Dick Cheney. Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Look, if you look at the remaining home games, you look at the fan base at how they're like. You don't look at those teams on how they travel. Their fan base travels. Eagles. This is going to be the more heavier opponent. I don't see Tampa fans traveling that way. I don't see.
Hey, listen. Tampa might have a new influx of fans that are here in New Jersey because of what they did not too long ago. With Tom Brady being there, there are bandwagoners now. Those are real people,
and they're playing well.
And people in New York probably wanted another team to cheer for. So don't be surprised you see some new Tampa fans that used to be Giants fans.
Listen, not for nothing.
That cheered.
There's some snowbirds. There's some snowbirds live up here during the summer, live down there during the winter.
Okay, how about the Colts?
They're probably hanging around for that game.
Well, what about the Colts? You think Colts fans are going to be traveling around?
I mean, listen, no, but that'll be at the end of the season. And if the Giants continue what they're doing at home, it's going to be 50% capacity. Yeah. It's going to be sad. It's going to be a sad game.
JC,
it was already a lot of empty seats this last home game.
Yeah. Well, they were on StubHub for $50 starting on the upper level. JC, if you remember correctly, back down, it was the last game of the 2017 season against Washington. It was about 30 below. It was the last game of the year. I don't remember if you were there or not, but it was the last game of the season, and it was so cold. It was the first time I ever pulled into MetLife Stadium the day of a game, and there was no cars in the parking lot. Because that's how cold it was. Yeah. We were inside the box, and we were still feeling that cold. It was about 25 below.
Yeah. I was there. I was on the sidelines on IR. It's cold.
Yeah. It was. We beat Washington, and Steve Spagnuolo was hugging everybody like they won the Super Bowl. That's what I remember in the locker room after the game. By the way, I love Steve Spagnuolo.
You gotta love Spags. Gotta love it.
My guy.
So all right, guys. That was this week's episode of the Big Blue Report, guys. I appreciate Jonathan Casillas, the workhorse, Jonathan Casillas, Ryan Darlington. I'm Randy Zellea from Back Sports Page. Ryan is the professor. Check him out. We have some new things we're doing with Ryan, so it's gonna be really, really cool. JC, check him out for pre and post game on all the. Are you with Schmelke right now? Who are you doing the show with?
Yeah, John Schmelke. Yep.
John Schmelke. Check him out before pre and post game. Check me out, Back Sports Page. We'll catch you guys next week here on the Big Blue Report.